By its premier partner, Carlton, brewed since 1864. And our telecast sponsors, Carlton Mid-Strength. Stay a little longer. SGIO Motor and Home Insurance. Bunnings Warehouse. Lowest prices are just the beginning. The new Bankwest Lite MasterCard. And Ford.
Yes, that day has arrived again, and in contrast to the heat of last year, Melbourne has turned on freezing conditions with a chance of hail, would you believe? But not exactly what you'd expect for Grand Final day. I'm sure, though, it won't stop the Collingwood and Brisbane fans having a great day. And you can see the members, the MCC members, here very early with the now traditional rush to get the best position for this afternoon's match. It should be a fantastic day, and Network 10 here to bring you all the action from inside and outside the MCG. Yes, good morning everyone. We're just outside the members' entrance here, and we're going to bring you all the colour and movement from Grand Final morning, all the traditions leading up to the bounce of the ball this afternoon. Plenty of special guests for you, and we've got some guests too that are pretty familiar with the big day. Stephen Silvani and Peter Dacos. You've been to the big dance before, boys. Good morning and welcome. Dakes, I think you in particular would be just feeling a little edgy this morning. Oh, well, you're going to still have to pinch me. I mean, it's a bit hard to believe that my team is actually there. And
are you confident, Dakes?
I am confident, although they haven't, and the Lions go into the game deservedly as favourites. Collingwood are in there with a chance. As long as you're there, you're a chance, Sauce. No doubt about that. 4 times you came here as a player, plus once when they dropped you cruelly to the reserves. How do you feel today, a year out of the game?
Well, actually, I feel quite good, but I'm a little bit nervous for Dakes because we've been through a lot this year, Dakes, and we've got here though, and your side's in with a chance. But great day. It really is the pinnacle of our football season, and the crowd's going to rock up, and we should be in for a great game.
Well, plenty to talk about this morning. As we mentioned, we're going to cover all the colour and movement and follow all the action of the teams. And Gerard Waitley is going to spend the day looking at the Brisbane angle, and he joins us. He's got a great job out and about in this lovely warm weather. Good morning, Gerard.
Good morning, Hutto. The Lions will certainly know they're not in Kansas anymore when their last training session was interrupted last night by a vicious rainstorm. Well, it's just as cold again this morning when the players had a stroll around Albert Park. That would have been confirmed. They're on the quest for back-to-back premierships. They have claimed just about every individual award there is in the AFL this season. Today, the quest is to ensure that their team of champions once again can claim the mantle as the AFL's champion team. I'll be with the Lions from the time they arrive at the MCG. They're a couple of hours away, and it should be an exciting day as they aim to claim a place in history with back-to-back flags. Christy Malthouse, well, you've lived the Collingwood preparation closer than most. How has it been?
It's been remarkably calm, Gerard. For a young and an inexperienced team, they've certainly managed to keep a lid on things this week. They were told to enjoy the festivities for the lead-up to today, and they've certainly done that with the Brownlow, the 10,000 fans turning up to training on Thursday, and the parade through the streets of the city yesterday. They certainly enjoyed it all, but they are remaining calm and relaxed. For the coach, well, this is his 4th Grand Final in 11 years and his 5th Grand Final if you include the 1980 Premiership with Richmond. He is really looking forward to this game, but speaking to him this morning, he was calm and relaxed. He will arrive here in a couple of hours along with the players, and they will certainly be ready to do battle with Brisbane, Anthony.
Thank you, Christy. We'll see how calm and relaxed you are at the end of the day. Well, plenty of fans arriving as we saw there. Let's get to Bill McDonald, who's in amongst some. Bill.
Well, it's pretty cold out here, but the Magpie Army is starting to mass. I can see them all over here. How are we, folks? Okay, I thought as much. I got the bad hair and everything going. The barbie's happening, and you're not cold, obviously. You've got a few warms there.
That's it. Yes, we're having a lovely hot barbie. No pies, sausages and hamburgers. Hot pies on the ground.
No pies, okay.
Saving them.
How confident are you?
Very confident. We've beaten before, we can do it again.
Can you tell me a weak spot that you can pick in the Lions lineup?
Oh, the whole 18.
The whole 18.
Swollen head syndrome. Swollen heads, that's what it is.
Well, there you go.
Brownlow's in the team.
Yeah. Too many Brownlows. You heard it first. I hope you're all smiling this afternoon then.
We will be. Go Pies!
We're going to, thank you, Bill. We're going to hear that, I'm sure, for much of the day. Go Pies. I'm not sure if we're going to be hearing it at the end of the day, but I guess time will tell that. Let's get to the other side of the ground now, and keeping an eye on those that are coming into the ground on the Brunton Avenue side is Brad McEwen. Good morning to you, Brad.
Yeah, thank you, Hutto. I'm over here with some Lion supporters, some Magpie supporters. This young lady down here is obviously a Lion supporter. Sir, who do you back for?
The Magpies, thanks, mate.
Right, I would never have known. They're all here. It's a little bit cold. It's a little bit rainy. You don't care, though, do you? They just want the game to start. Now, a lot of big names arriving. I saw Danny Frawley before and Darren Crocker. Damien Peverill from Essendon's here, so we'll be hunting around for them shortly. Everyone, Hutto, just waiting for the game to get underway.
Thank you, Brad. We can go inside the ground where, of course, all the main action will be later on this afternoon. The under-18s is already underway, and we've got the Grand Final sprint coming up later, so one of the traditions of Grand Final Day returning this year. And Michael Christian's going to keep an eye on everything inside the ground. Chris O, good morning to you. Another Magpie, I'm sure, who's pretty pumped for the day.
Thanks, Hutto. Yes, it's going to be a big day. Half-time in the under-18s game, the grand final, and Calder Cannons lead by 16 points at the long break. And a lot of interest in the Eastern Rangers. Cameron Cloke, of course, brother of Jason, not playing for Collingwood this afternoon, playing for the Eastern Rangers. And as you mentioned, Hutto, a big day, the TXU AFL sharpshooting kicking competition, and of course later on the return of the Nintendo AFL Grand Final sprint. So looking forward to a great pre-match on the ground.
Thank you, Michael. Well, we've got everything covered here at the MCG. Let's head up north now and see what the Brisbane fans are doing in Brisbane, naturally enough. Let's go to Scott Beveridge. Good morning, Scott.
Thanks, Hutto. Well, the atmosphere is starting to build here in Brisbane. Now, if you take over a look to my right, this is the Suncorp Piazza now. This is going to be packed with about 2,000 people later on today. It was about 1,500 last year, but the popularity of the Lions is just the way it's built over the last year. I expect that'll be bursting at the seams. Now, there's one man, it's 10 past 10, doesn't open till about 12:30, but he's queued up already, and it's Rowan. Now, I'm guessing you're the #1 Lions supporter, Rowan. Now, you've been a supporter for a while, have you?
Yes, I've been a supporter since 1996, and I changed from Essendon, went to Brisbane Bears, and then I'm definitely one Brisbane Lions through and through.
Now, you're a bit early, mate. What are you going to do to fill in a couple of hours before the telecast starts?
I'm well stocked up. I got water, I got radio, I'm listening to Triple M, and I got Sammy and Derby on the radio, and I'm ready for Raw.
How many are we going to win by, mate?
I'm going to say we're going to thrash the Connie Robles.
I think that means we'll win. Back to you at the MCG.
Thank you, Scott. Well, they're pretty confident up there, obviously, boys. Collingwood, should they make a change? We're looking at the back here, and the weather looks pretty ordinary, and we know the forecast. Would you make a change? Mark McGough, we know he did so well on Anzac Day.
No, well, I think you go in with the 22 selected. I don't think there's a need to play funny games or anything like that. The guys would know they're in the side. You've got a game plan to stick to, and I reckon the Pies should just go in with what they've got.
Just on that, is it important that the players know in advance that they are playing?
I think it's important. I think particularly the night before, you're knowing you're playing the game, and I think the rest of the 21 or 22 players that are involved would like to know that the team's settled, it's picked. That's what we're going in a battle with.
Would you start Jared Malloy on the ground?
No, I'd actually start him off on the bench. I just think he's going to be a little bit underdone. just hold him back, wait till the game settles a bit and use his impact probably 10-15 minutes into the first quarter.
Well, I don't believe Collingwood will make a change, but we'll find out later on as the morning progresses. We're going to talk about some big news stories of the year after the break as we check out again more of the fans that are here for the big day at the MCG. Welcome back to the MCG, and look at that weather forecast. It's currently 9 degrees. They're expecting a top of 14, but there's absolutely no guarantee we'll get there. A bit of rain about over the MCG, and that's the shot of Melbourne's Government House as we sweep across to the MCG. It's an interesting sight, isn't it, for grand final morning. Lots of guests coming up, but let's focus now on the news for the year in football, and it has just been an extraordinary year, and we'll have a talk about it shortly, but let's recap now on the year in football news.
My understanding is that Wayne Carey's career at the Kangaroos is over.
For the well-being of all concerned, I've taken the decision to cease my playing career with the Kangaroos. I apologise to all my teammates and all the Kangaroo supporters.
Coming round again, slowly creeping in, time at its command.
Wayne's got to get on with his life, and I think now he's starting to do that. Yeah, and good luck to him. I hope he goes well.
It's pressure in my day.
I believe that the matter could have been better handled by the AFL, having regard to the personal nature of these circumstances.
Tonight, brutal blow. Fears for the future of a Bomber star.
When you're lying in hospital, you don't really think about it too much, but I'm really keen to get back into training and start playing. That's something I'm really looking forward to.
The bitter rivalry between Adelaide and Port Adelaide flared in a pub last night with up to 25 players involved in an all-in brawl.
And if you call that a big incident, then you've had a pretty sheltered life.
It's been described officially as a very, very unusual incident, and it's believed to centre on the allegation that Philandia bit the St Kilda player Chad Davis on a testicle during a tackling contest.
I know that what occurred was wrong, and I must pay the penalty for it.
The acrimony over. All that remained today were the explanations.
I just think I'm not going to be here next year. I don't see the logic as far as the club's concerned. I'm in a change in direction, and I think it's better for the club to change direction sooner than later.
You know, I would love to have been able to play some good footy. That never happened, and that's probably a bit disappointing.
The only course of action for his unacceptable behaviour on Friday night is to go back to the VFL.
But I think what happened there is that Buckley may have, now this is, I'm not certain. It's a report. Cameron, I think it's a report for putting his blood on Wing's jumper.
Because it's a major test case for this AFL tribunal. Buckley's set to plead guilty.
Union, though. I mean, World Cup, you name it, it's as big as it gets.
The 25-year-old is confident his speed and kicking ability would be a huge asset to rugby.
I'll tell you one statement. If I wanted Wayne Carey, Acker would end up playing rugby union.
Wayne Carey is already in training for a return to AFL football next season, and Ch10's Sport believes the Adelaide Crows are preparing a major bid to secure the services of the King.
I just thought that Adelaide was the best fit in all areas, as far as a football club, their professionalism, their team.
Danny's thoughts on the issue were that he would prefer me to retire. I disagree with Danny on the decision.
Bulldogs bombshell. The shock resignation of coach Terry Wallace.
Walking back in the door and walking into the environment of the place, you can just tell sometimes when it's time to move on.
We can't handcuff him to Whitten Oval.
Sydney officials have been involved in negotiations with Wallace's management.
We don't have wars that will decimate the Carlton Football Club.
Good evening, everyone. 10 Sport believes Dennis Pagan has quit the Kangaroos to take the coaching job with Carlton next season.
Well, on behalf of my wife, Jenny, she's not here tonight, but I love her, I love you. And I do think it's a great honour you've given to me.
Will there ever be another year like it in football news? I'm not sure where you start, but a special thanks there to Jared Dooley for putting that amazing package together, boys. Where do you start when talking about the year? Obviously, Wayne Carey was, it's a bit like one of those ones, where were you when you heard the news, wasn't it?
Oh, exactly, and probably the biggest story of the year, no doubt about that. You had Wayne Carey involved and also his teammate Anthony Stevens, two champions of the game.
And the wrong football club, when you consider what the Roos have been through, and that's the last thing they would have been looking for as well.
How do you think Wayne will go next year at Adelaide?
I think he's made the right move. He's got away from Melbourne, went to a state where he grew up in for a little while, and certainly Adelaide's a team that needs that key position forward, and if he just concentrated on his football, we know the type of football he can play, he's going to be an asset for Adelaide. It
was a mad, mad year for speculation, wasn't it? And the amazing thing was that half of it ended up being true. Coaches, I mean, Terry Wallace was the big shock, wasn't it? I mean, Rodney E, there was talk about all year. Pagan, amazingly, was going to leave. Was he going to stay? But Wallace was a bolt out of the blue.
It was, when you consider a similar position to the Roos, I suppose, off-field, and it was the last thing that they would have been looking for. But I suppose with Wallace, my initial reaction to it was I was a little bit hard on Terry Wallace for that decision. But I suppose, can you blame him for just trying to, I suppose, secure his own future and, I suppose, that of his family? Because that's what they're doing these days right across the board.
Well, you saw drama from the inside, Sauce, at Carlton?
With Wayne Britton, of course. Certainly, I guess the way it was handled was the big question mark on it. But it happens in football everywhere, doesn't it? Coaches change, players change, and I guess towards the end of the season is when it all happens, and it's been no different this year.
Just on Dennis Pagan, have you had much to do with him yet at Carlton?
I only met him the once. I went down to the club actually early last week and met Dennis then, but just said hello to him, and that's basically that's all I've had to do with Dennis, but have met him a couple of times in other football circles. But he's a terrific asset for the Carlton Footy Club. Premiership coach, stood the test of time, so he's a wonderful coach.
And it's already started, hasn't he? Because I think a few players have fallen by the wayside. So his job has already started.
And the news is going to continue, isn't it, in the next few weeks leading up to the draft with clubs cutting. How many names do you think we're going to see cut from club lists?
I think we'll see quite a few players this year, particularly the way the salary cap is. A lot of clubs are right up to their neck in having to pay players, and obviously you've got to cut players. And I believe that the second draft, you'll see a lot of players that are out of contract who may not get picked up purely because of the salary cap reasons.
Well, I think that's the thing in football these days. It's one thing to be getting the big money, but the expectation from the football club is a big one, and I don't think there's the patience from the football clubs as there was, say, 10 years ago. I mean, because of the big money.
OK, we'll take a break. Plenty more coming up. We've got some great interviews coming up. We're going to look at the marks and goals of the year and talk to both the captains and coaches of both sides here on Grand Final Day. The weather, what a big story that's going to be. We'll keep a close eye on that as we get ready to the lead-up, the bounce of the ball at 2:30 this afternoon.
Thought that was a good solution.
The new time of 8:30 Tuesday.
Isn't that a kingfisher?
Something to really tickle your funny bone.
You worked here long?
I don't work here.
1 hour of serious laughs. Where the gags just keep coming.
Stand these conference calls.
And coming.
You've got to learn to cope with the pressures of golf, and what better way to learn than this?
Television's outrageous all-new comedy hit.
Never mind. Flip him over. We'll concentrate on your bunker shots.
The Sketch Show. New time 8:30 Tuesday on 10.
Strathfield Birthday Bonanza on now, the right choice for car home mobile. Now's the time to get into home theatre. 51cm pure flat AV stereo TV, only $388. Get pumping for your wheels. The latest in-car DVD entertainment, complete package $699. The best deals on mobiles. Nokia 8310 on the Optus 55 plan, now $0, only $55 per month. Must end tomorrow. For the biggest range, best price and right advice. Strathfield, call 1311 77.
I'm on my way from misery to happiness to thee.
The The average small business pays $2,000 a year in bank fees. Bank West offers Freebie, a small business cheque account that allows you to be free from bank fees forever. Just think what you could do with the money you save. We're Bank West. We hear you.
Trust me, mate. Cougar.
And a slice of lemon.
Cougar, thanks.
And a slice of lemon?
Oh, yeah, and a slice of lemon.
Cougar, real smooth bourbon.
Coming fishing, Josh?
Join you later, Dad.
Coming fishing, Steph?
Just doing my hair, Dad.
No worries, love.
No, the food here's been terrific.
Coming fishing, hun?
And you certainly couldn't fault the service.
I love camping.
Thinking home improvements? Then get down to Bunnings Warehouse for a mammoth range of home improvement products at the lowest prices every day. Pruner, a bargain at $1.95. Garden hose with fittings, $8.48. 4-litre Dulux weather shield from $52.90. 25-metre extension lead, $16.95. And Cocos Palm, just $9.99. We won't be beaten on price. And that's guaranteed.
Bunnings Warehouse!
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Through the raindrops, that is the view of the MCG as we build up to the bounce of the ball this afternoon. We're outside the ground, bringing you all the colour and movement in the lead up to the game between Collingwood and Brisbane. And coming up shortly, we're going to look at the MCG and the redevelopment with Stephen Goff. But boys, what a big day it is for Nathan Buckley. I mean, it's a big day for everyone that's playing, but the journey he's gone on up to Brisbane, back to Collingwood, all because he wanted to be not just playing today, but winning.
Well, he's been waiting for this for years, really. He's the captain of the Collingwood Footy Club and played the game last week. There was a lot of expectations on that he'd be probably one of the Collingwood better players, but had a disappointing game last week. I think he'll benefit from that, but he'll be looking forward to today because this is what footy's all about.
How are you feeling right now, Dax?
Well, as a player, you'd be nervous. As a captain, multiply that by at least 3 times because your responsibility is a lot greater, and as a player, you tend to feel a lot more. So he would be feeling a little bit...
I thought the most powerful shot last week was that one of him leading the team down the race. It was a very powerful shot as he came down, and we'll be looking for that again this afternoon. Well, Michael Christian spent a bit of time with Nathan Buckley yesterday after the parade, and here they are.
Well, Nathan, thanks for talking with us. 24 hours away from a grand final. How do you feel?
Oh, looking forward to it, mate. It's, we've just been and done the parade, and it's. All the sort of extraneous sort of variables are out of the way, and now we can focus on actually playing.
Now, you played in a premiership with Port Adelaide in the SANFL. How was that? I mean, that was 10 years ago as a 20-year-old. What were your memories of the lead up to that game?
Not much about the lead up actually, but the game itself was a real buzz. I can't remember much of it. I've got to watch the video to remind myself, but the feeling after is, I mean, you can't forget that, and you know that's why you play footy.
So has it been different this time to what you remember back in '92 in terms of the leader?
Yeah, well, it's obviously SANFL, AFL. There's a little bit of a difference there, and we probably had like 150,000 people out there today, and I think, I mean, this is the pinnacle of a footballer's career, the opportunity to win a premiership. we have a very young list that have the opportunity to do that, and I, as we all are very excited about doing the job tomorrow.
Has anything surprised you in the lead-up that you thought that really knocked you back and think, wow, like for example the crowd today? I mean, has anything really surprised you?
Yeah, I think we were pretty well prepared. I think all of us have been young football followers at some stage and know exactly, sort of seen what grand final week's like from the outside, and we've seen parades before, and so most of the young fellas have probably been little tackers at the front waving flags at their old heroes. Perhaps you, mate. But I think we sort of knew what we were up for, and the boys have been fairly calm and collected and taking it in their stride, enjoying the periphery stuff and just ready to go.
Now, Jason Cloke, obviously a tough week for him. What's been the impact on the team? I mean, have you found some positives from what's happened to him this week?
Well, there really are no positives for Clokey. It's a very unfortunate circumstance. I suppose the only positives for the rest of the group is to know that he's been an integral part of us getting to where we are, and that opportunity's been taken away from him, and I suppose it makes you appreciate it all the more.
Now, Mick Malthouse during the week, the big challenge during Grand Final week is trying to keep a lid on the emotions. What has he done to try and, particularly with the younger players who haven't had a lot of finals experience, what has he done to try and keep those emotions in check?
Well, I think basically all he's done is advise and talk to guys, and I suppose you do that in advance, and then you have to let the individual sort of handle it as they handle it. I think we've got a fairly level-headed group, and Mick, along with Dean Laidley and the rest of the assistant coaches, have been very calm and collected. We've gone about our processes exactly the same as we always would, week in, week out, and I think that keeps the players calm as well.
Has there been a theme for the week in terms of preparing for this game? Has there been one thing that you've grabbed hold of to try and, you know, spur you on to try and get over the Brisbane Lions?
No, not really. We've really focused on the same areas that we've focused on every week during the year, and we pride ourselves on the physicality, and we obviously think that the start is going to be fairly hot, as it always is. So there's nothing out of the ordinary, but we've probably spoken about the same 3 or 4 things that we have leading into every game of the year.
Now, you've obviously done the strategies, etc., for the game. Without giving away too much, where do you see, or how do you think Collingwood is going to win the game?
I think once again our strategy is probably pretty similar to throughout the season. Our chances of victory rely on our ability to play very well as a team and get contributions from all 22 players that will represent us this weekend. Brisbane have got a lot of individual brilliance, but they are a good team also. But we need to counter that and make sure that we work together to achieve the end result.
Mate, good luck.
Thanks, Chris.
I hope it goes well.
So, mate.
Yeah, nodding a wink from Nathan Buckley. What a hero he's going to be to the masses if the Magpies do the almost impossible today and beat Brisbane at this famous ground, the MCG. And I refer to that because we're welcoming the General Manager of the Melbourne Cricket Club, Stephen Goff, who's with us here this morning. Goffy, good morning to you.
Thank you, Anthony. A great morning.
It is. It's a different morning, isn't it, with the weather out there. How's that going to affect the crowd, do you think?
Well, we're a little bit down in the roll-up to start the day. MCC members have been here overnight and in big numbers, but we've now made the offer to our restricted members. If they'd like to come, get out and see the Pies, the offer is there, so come on down. We'd welcome a greater attendance.
Thanks, little you and Maidstone.
Steve, yeah, I will. I haven't got a couple of jobs. We're out of a job as of the end of the game today. A couple of boys that could probably slip a couple of hankies on their head and get them in the stand for you tomorrow.
Are you restricted members, you two?
I wouldn't mind, but I was going to talk to you about that. I've got to get involved. But just on re the stand, has a lot of the pressure come because of Colonial Stadium, and how much pressure?
Well, I think a lot of things. I think Stadium Australia, firstly, with the Olympics, then Colonial, the Gabba, the Subiaco ground. People want a better stadium, better facilities. There's a magic to the G, but there's only so much you can put up with. And if you get one of the crook seats where you can't see, you can't find a toilet, you can't get a drink, and you get wet most of the time, it wears thin after a while. And I think it's time to do the renovation.
So, Steve, when does the demolition start?
We're kicking off SOS on Tuesday. We're starting to dismantle the members area, and we're on our way Tuesday in a big way. Brunton Avenue will be closed off tomorrow, and then it'll be reduced to 1 lane for the next 18 months while we work hard at the Ponsford end.
Can we have a look here, Steve, at what the plans are for the redevelopment, and what's it going to look like when it's all finished?
Yes, looks fantastic, doesn't it? It's a magnificent addition, and yet, as you can see, there's a bit in the middle where we're signifying where the members' area is, because the members and the public and everyone who's connected with the ground says you need that point of difference reinforced in your design, and you can see it in the seat change, the different levels that are there, and there's a reinforcement of the pavilion.
I think that's a good point, because if I'd have one criticism of modern stadiums, it would be that they just look the same all the way around, and this ground's got so much character.
Absolutely, and I think that key in with the architects was, how do we recognise what everyone's telling us? Don't lose the magic of the G, make that point of difference so we don't get a stadium that could be in Miami or it could be in London. We need that difference.
I think last week we saw the magic of the G, didn't it? When it is full, it's a magic place.
Well, I think everyone who's been here on those days, whether as a player or a spectator, has magic memories, and last week I think was all of that rolled into one.
Well, we've got to keep moving. Thanks for joining us. A big day for you today. Good luck.
Fantastic day. Thank you.
Who do you like, Goffy?
Brisbane.
We'll see you later. Thanks for joining us.
Don't worry, Dake's saying it to everyone so far today. Let's go to Bill McDonald again, who's out and about at the MCG.
Okay, looks like I'm now officially in the Magpie camp. This is a Magpie camp, isn't it? Yeah? Ooh, gee, I tell you what, those snags smell pretty good. And what's this? We've got a couple already. What's going on here? Oh, sorry.
We're taking over already, mate. We just won the cup.
Won the cup?
Yeah.
Gee, it's a bit dusty.
Oh, it's all right, mate. Since 1990 now, we're going to polish it through. 2002.
So you're all very confident then?
Very confident. Very confident.
What's the margin going to be?
Oh, God, 25 points.
So there's confidence. You've got to be confident, I guess. Enjoy the afternoon, folks.
Thank you very much, Bill. Well, while Sauce and Dakes here are trying to sign up their kids for the MCC, let's go back up to Brisbane and Scott Beveridge. Scott.
We're in front of the South Bank Piazza, just across the Brisbane River from the city, and you can see the queue is starting to build here. They haven't opened the gates just yet. We've got one fan there here. I don't know if you can pick it up, but he's actually got braces in the colour of the Brisbane Lions. Now, that is fanaticism for you. And now, you thought Vossi was down at the MCG. Well, he's not. This is Vossi the dog, and now he is the Brisbane's #1 supporter. Now, does Vossi go to all the games?
No, he watches them at home on the TV.
Okay, he watches on TV. That's good enough, though. But we've got one lone magpie who's flown the coop somehow. He'll be lucky to get out alive. But Dave Argus, now you've lined up most of these people to come here today, so you're in for a big day, obviously.
We certainly are. We're here to really support our team. The Lions are just absolutely fantastic what they've done to date, and I hope they really get it right into those Collingwood guys today, and back to back. Here we go. Go, you mighty Lions!
Now there was a song that was sung by the Lions at the end of last year's Grand Final. I can't remember how it went. How did that song go, guys?
We are the pride of Brisbane, remember all, blue and gold. Hey, we will always fight for victory, like the Jordan fans of old. All for one, one for all. We will answer to the call. Go Lions, Brisbane Lions, we'll kick the winning score. You'll hear a mighty roar.
There you go, back to you at the MCG.
Thank you, Scott. Well, the weather looks considerably better up there. It's 9.5 degrees at the moment at the MCG. Well, coming up, we're going to have a look at the goals of the year and plenty of special guests, including Mark Seymour, who's going to be performing later on. And, well, there's one Magpie man inside the ground. I wonder how his team will go this afternoon.
Want fast? Seriously fast?
That's an incredible step!
Channel 10's team of experts bring you the biggest motorsports events. Bob Jane T-Mart 1000. The Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix. Honda Indy 300 and Telstra Rally Australia. V8 Supercar International and V8 Ultimate Sandown. Plus, all the latest news on Sunday's RPM. Your home of motorsport is Channel 10.
Thinking home improvements? Then get down to Bunnings Warehouse for a mammoth range of home improvement products at the lowest prices every day. Fresh petunia seedlings $1.99 per punnet. Screwdriver set a low $5.99. 4 litre even cover $17.90. Folding outdoor chair just $14.95. And household broom only $4.98. We won't be beaten on price. And that's guaranteed.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
I'm on my way from misery to happiness today. I'm on my way from misery to happiness today. I'm on my way to what I want from this world.
With a rate that's under 10%, Bank West Light MasterCard makes other credit cards obsolete. We're Bank West. We hear you.
Strathfield Birthday Bonanza on now, the right choice for car, home, mobile. Now's the time to get into home theatre. 51cm pure flat AV stereo TV, only $388. Get pumping for your wheels. The latest in-car DVD entertainment, complete package $699. The best deals on mobiles. Nokia 8310 on the Optus 55 plan, now $0, only $55 per month. Must end tomorrow. For the biggest range, best price and right advice. Strathfield, call 1311 77.
Ja, hoe lang, hè? Aku bi. Edisio. Halolle. Ishando ko yai. Nema saranga ba antari. Kollo.
Everybody knows. Ever ready, the smart choice.
That'd be one adult and one child.
Tastes good, but
Next quick! If you're looking to match the decor in your home, we'll take time to do it right.
Car for choice. Car for choice. Car for choice. Choice, you got me happy with the choices, happy with your prices, car for choice, and so much more. You got me happy with the choices, happy with your prices, car for choice, and so much more.
I'll just look that up for you. Yes, I can help you with that.
Due to the upgraded hardware in our core business units. Now, if everyone would turn to page 7.
For a great lineup of communication services, choose Primus Telecom.
Well, down the Yarra, probably not a bad way to get to the ground today at the MCG. Given the conditions at the moment, though, it's holding off. Not too much rain about, but the temperature around 9 degrees. We're outside the ground here at the MCG in the lead up to the big game this afternoon. The sprint's coming up. We're going to hear from both the coaches and a whole lot more. And boys, time now to talk about the goals of the year. We saw what an amazing year it was in news, but some great action on the ground as well, wasn't it?
Plenty of great goals kicked throughout the season.
You're a great goal kicker, Sauce, I must say.
It wasn't pretty.
Let's have a look at some of them, and then we're going to come back and decide which ones we thought were the best.
Richardson searches for his man, then almost holds the mark, does it well, beats him point blank, beats me, then has a bounce, then loses it, then gets it. Turn on the television, shoot off my
big opportunity, what a goal!
I'm sick of all the false calls.
Lippich was the spoiler, Caracella hurries one towards goal. That is an unbelievable snap.
Probably should have taken it to the line in hindsight. They play confident football like Brisbane. Brilliantly done by Luke Power. Keeps it alive. Could be gone.
Support. Then he set something up. He's beset upon by a couple of saints. Mill has it. The dangerous Mill. He has 2 bounces. Runs to 40. Oh, it's over again with a boost. Snap and goal. Oh, the buddy's kicked it.
Well, they're short in case he miskicks the Tigers. He gets onto an absolute ball burster. Underneath the pack, Knights hits Grant Cracker. Goes to ground, knocks it out. Roden goes
Ch10's again. The two youngsters combining close to the boundary line. Roden's kick is a beauty.
Carousel, they got it from Lucas. Scoots around the boundary. Grubbers one for magnificent.
Back to Judd, who just kept running. White looks to corral him, gives it to Wing Hunter. He wants to run around Bizzle. Chips over the top to Sierakowski. He plays on. Jones kept running. Right against Judd. Goes to 20 metres out. Kick the goal, and he does. Little handball backward to Burton. Tries to sell the dummy. Still inside on the boundary line. Goes again. Burton bends it back and kicks an absolute ripper.
Kerr to a punter, waiting for the handball. Has a bounce. Approaches 50. Steps inside once. Twice. Has another bounce. Kept it up there.
White, magnificent play, quick snap, White,
Salmon's got it! Salmon has kicked the goal! Bombers by 7 points!
Let the roll earlier. Little 1-2 between Cameron and Chappie came unstuck. Davis gets inside the 50 lines, but he didn't.
2-on-1 for the Kangaroos. Wakeland, Stevens at ground level, tries to keep it alive, he does so.
Stafford, punch away good.
Clears the pack, loose ball behind. There's a chance for Grant, tries to flick it back. Got a mid-air by Johnson.
Almost Jacobs. Moorcroft getting pitches third. 18 straight wins on this home track at the Gabba. Ackermanis on the charge. This will lift the crowd. Ackermanis takes him on, backs himself. Now you see, now you don't. Pulls a rubber out of the help, kicks a goal. Magnificent play by Ackermanis.
Well, pretty hard to choose amongst those lot as to who were the best goals of the year, boys. It was some great goals, wasn't it? Ackermanis off the left boot.
Yeah, look, some great mixes. You know, players kicking on the wrong side of the body under a hell of a lot of pressure.
What is the hardest goal to kick in terms of in footy? Is it the snap from the boundary line, or what is it?
Look, they're all pretty hard. I think the set shots are pretty hard because you have time as a forward or as a player to think about what you're doing. I think on the run you don't tend to have as much time to worry about the kick. But I think the balance of goals are all great and all have their different degrees of pressure.
Well, I've gone for Chris Judd for mine. He got the ball first on the half-back flank, got the handball off, kept on going, got it again.
Kicked a few of these, didn't he?
Yeah, so he's already had 2 touches already. And then he kept on running, you can see him to the right of screen there. Got it back again. So he's run from the half-back line, had 3 involvements, and then ignored all his teammates, of course, and put it through for a brilliant goal.
He's got a great sidestep too, Judd, and we saw him do that in the Wizard Cup in one of the early games in the year.
How good a player will he be, do you think? I mean, are we talking a top 5, top 10 player in the AFL in the next couple of years?
I think very close to it. What I do like about Chris Judd, he's not too committed when he has possession of the football, whereas, I mean, a lot of players tend to want to kick the ball and that's all. He's able to change within a step, his way of thinking, and I think the very good players are able to do that, and Chris Judd can.
What have you gone for, Dakes?
Look, again, as you made mention, very hard to try and pick. I love Wirapunda's goal, but David Roden kicked some exciting goals through the season. That one, again, under a hell of a lot of pressure, in mid-air when he motioned to kick that fantastic goal. Having looked at the others, I don't know. I mean, that was one of the very good goals. I don't know if it was the best goal, but there was a lot of great goals. A lot of great goals.
So who did you go for?
What are you laughing at?
You.
It was a great goal.
It was, yeah.
Didn't you like it?
Well, it was all right. Sauce, yours?
I went for the Ackermanis goal. I think it showed everything. It showed some real pace. It showed some strength. He took him on. He's bold, and to be able to do it on.
He's got hair.
Bold, I said.
Oh, okay.
On the left side and kick a goal really 50 metres out is sensational. Had everything, that goal.
And he did it a couple of times during the year, didn't he? Those goals on the left. Is there anyone? Is he the best ever at kicking on his wrong boot?
I'm not too sure whether he's the best ever, but he's very good at what he does, and there's plenty of players that have been able to use both sides of the body. This guy here as well.
Best ever? That's a huge rap.
Well,
that's a big call.
I can't remember seeing another player who's as proficient on his left side as Ackermanis is.
Oh, look, he's terrific. And he kicks a lot. He consistently does that. The thing with Ackermanis as well, he does carry the ball a hell of a long way, and he tends to take it from wing or between wing and half forward and tend to finish off. He's a terrific player. It's a huge bonus goal.
Who was as good?
Not as quick as Ackermanis. It's Greg Williams.
He was a good finisher.
He was good.
Yeah.
He was good on his left. I know it was a stupid thing to say the best ever, but it got you fired up. Let's go to Brad McEwen, who's with a very happy supporter indeed. Brad.
Hardo, without question, this is the happiest man in Melbourne. Michael, your wife's at home watching this on the telly. Tell her what you just told me.
Well, Michelle, you said it wouldn't be possible, but I came in and I bought the ticket, and there it is. I'm in to see Collingwood win the grand final.
That is amazing. Now, can I ask, what did you pay for the ticket?
Well, Michelle won't like this. I paid $300, but I think that's a fantastic price, considering I didn't have a ticket this morning when I woke up, and now I'm going in to see Collingwood win.
Amazing. Half your dreams come true. How confident the other half will come true and the pies will get up?
Well, look, I've got my fingers crossed.
All right, Michael. Mate, well done. You're into the grand final. Hopefully it all goes well for you. Hutto, can you believe it?
No, and it's... just want to reiterate, we don't condone scalping here on Network 10, but that man is very happy.
It's great to see, isn't it? A die-hard supporter. At the start of the day, looked like he wasn't going to get into the ground, and he got a ticket.
We'll take a break. More coming up. Don't forget the grand final sprints coming up. And the crowd, of course, moving into the ground later on. They're going to be watching some great pre-match entertainment.
The countdown to the moment which stops the nation rolls on. But before the main game starts, this place is set to explode with the colour and movement of the grand final's pre-game entertainment. A cavalcade of Australia's finest performers are set to light up the G. The perfect prelude to the biggest show in town is coming up on 10's Grand Final Day coverage.
Due to the live telecast of the 2002 AFL Grand Final, Saturday morning's episode of Totally Wild will be telecast tomorrow at 8 o'clock instead of its usual time of 9 here on 10.
With the power of a V6 Ford Escape, there are no boundaries.
Thinking home improvements? Then get down to Bunnings Warehouse for a mammoth range of products at the lowest prices every day. And we're open all long weekends, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
This commercial isn't just for Aussie home loans. We've had a bigger idea. The new Aussie mortgage market. We now bring you a range of loans from the banks, other lenders and Aussie. But it still beats talking to the banks because we help you select the loan that's right for you, wherever it comes from. So call the Aussie mortgage market on 13 13 33. We've got all the right loans under one roof.
Sports legends talk hair loss.
Nobody looks better bald.
Don't wait any longer. Do what I did. If you want to regrow or replace your hair, ring for your free hair check with Advanced Hair Studio. Ring now.
God's Kitchen Summer Trance. The brand new triple CD. Featuring the hottest summer trance. God's Kitchen Summer Trance. It takes you there.
You just keep on calling me.
Strathfield can't be serious. A mobile phone and stereo for nothing up front. This has to be the best deal ever. The hot new Alcatel 303, now $0 on the new exclusive $38 plan connected to Optus, with $38 included calls a month. Plus, get a Sansui mini system with CD, cassette, tuner and detachable speakers free. That's the hot new Alcatel 303 with a free Sansui mini system valued at over $250. Strathfield, the right choice. Call 1311 77.
AFL Final Series 2002, brought to you by its premier partner, Carlton, brewed since 1864. And our telecast sponsors, Carlton Mid-Strength. Stay a little longer. Ford. Stratfield, the right choice for mobiles. Call 13 11 77. Nintendo GameCube, get into it. And just say the word, yes, Optus.
Good old Collingwood forever, they know how to play the game. Side by side we stick together to uphold the Magpies' name, God blimey. Hear the barrackers are shouting, as all barrackers should. All the premierships are cake walk for the good old Collingwood. Now, what's that worth? That'd be worth a quid to us, wouldn't it, George?
Well, you can have it all we get, Harry.
Good on you.
You can have all you get.
Good on you, mate.
You've always been the battler.
Ah, well, we've tried to be. Yeah. Try to be good cobbers anyway.
Well,
lovely piece. That. Oh, do beg your pardon.
I might just hand over to you now. That was Harry Collier, by the way, from 1996 with his old mate George, a Collingwood legend. And speaking of legends, not quite that old, Bert, welcome.
Thank you, Hutto.
Welcome to the show.
Indeed. Great to be here.
I'll just hand over to him now, boys.
You take over.
How are you guys?
It's your day off. Good. And yourself?
Terrific. I've never been actually to a grand final before. I always pledged that if Fitzroy made the grand final, I'd be here. I was too young for the 1944 one, which was played at St Kilda, as I'm told. But it's great to be here. Not that I can stay for the.
You didn't get to last year's grand final, but
no, I've never seen a grand final. Never been to the game itself on the day itself. For that reason, I pledged that I would wait until Fitzroy got here, and then I'd come.
Boy, you picked the wrong day.
In what way?
Oh, well, Collingwood.
Yeah, well, that's
Collingwood
right.
will get home today. I don't know if you know the script, but they will get home.
Well, I give them a chance now, especially with this weather, don't you? Won't that bring them back to the fold?
I think so.
Be difficult for the big blokes, though, like Rocker, I would imagine. He needs a bit of room to turn, doesn't he?
Well, at the same time, I think they could be just as deadly on the ground. I suppose spearing in, they have the big body, so it's interesting, Hutto. A lot of people, we know how important Bert Newton is, but there's another side to the Newtons. You have the entertainer, but the most important Newton is Bob Newton, who was our running coach back in 1990. And a lot of people don't do that. It's how is Bob going?
He's going well, and of course he went with Lee to Brisbane for the first couple of seasons. How's the hair? Is it okay? For a couple of seasons, and now still does some work with the club. I should explain that I didn't move across to the Lions from Fitzroy. I see them as separate entities, but I think they're just a great team, and I reckon, I mean, you'd have to concede that they go in as favourites today.
Oh, absolutely.
Pretty short price.
Can you tell us, but you mentioned the Fitzroy supporting. At one stage, they actually wanted you to be president, didn't they, at Fitzroy?
Yeah, a long time ago. I guess it was back in the mid to late 70s. But the reason I didn't take it on was the reason that Eddie did take it on at Collingwood, and that is, I wouldn't have made a good president. I would have been, my heart would have been there, but it's not my style of work. I don't think I would know enough about the administration side. But I think the real success story of football in recent years has been singularly what Eddie Maguire has done for the Collingwood Football Club.
So, Bert, you weren't happy with the Fitzroy-Brisbane merger?
Well, Stephen, I don't see it as a merger. I see it, sadly, as the death of a club and another team taking on the colours. But I hasten to add again that I think the Brisbane Lions are a wonderful team, and I love to watch them play. And when they win, I'm pleased. But I can't quite. My old friend Kevin Murray, who has made the changeover totally, and Bill Stephen, the legendary coach, and all of the guys from the teams that I knew particularly well back in the 60s and 70s, they have embraced it, and good luck to them. But I don't think there's anything worse than being a supporter pretending to be something that you're not. I mean, you can get away with that on television, but when it comes to important things like football, it's. I'm just thinking I haven't done much for the aggregate age of this paddle, have I?
Well, I'm not far away. These guys are pretty young, but
as we speak, it is absolutely starting to pelt down out the back. So,
talking about mergers, and remember me coming to your pub when the talk was that Fitzroy and Collingwood were going to merge. I guess back in the early 90s. Early 90s. Yeah, early 90s.
Is that right?
Yeah, we had
was
a
a really
photograph taken together. And the pub over in Carlton, I think it was.
Yeah, Spuds, that's right.
And Fitzroy and Collingwood were going to merge. And Collingwood, in all their graciousness...
Yes, I remember this.
They said, and furthermore, supporters of Fitzroy, guess what? We're going to wear the Fitzroy Guernsey in the reserves.
I thought it was just
that was a fair deal.
A spot on the shorts.
Yeah.
well, I suppose it's still around. Have you been happy? Is there still an element of the Fitzroy Football Club within the Lions that you've been able to identify with?
Well, I'm told that they look after the former Fitzroy
I think they do very well.
Terrifically, and they are mindful of the wonderful history of Fitzroy, and I believe that the Fitzroy supporters, when they go to Brisbane, they're looked after. Likewise down here, all the functions and things. But it was just like the Brownlow Medal the other night. I mean, Fitzroy and Brisbane Lions haven't won 11 Brownlows. Brisbane has won 3, and we've won 8. And maybe I'm being pedantic and hard to get on
It's an individual decision, I think, isn't it, for everyone to make, whether they embrace it or not. Stay with us, Bert. We'll get out amongst it in the weather again, and here's Bill McDonald. Bill.
Well, the weather's turned awful up here, but the Lions, they're a resourceful lot. Look, they've got the tarp happening here, and we've also got the colour-coded glasses. Very good. Not feeling the cold, obviously.
No, you don't feel the cold when you go to the grand final.
Oh, what's this? Have a look down here. We've even got Vossi the Lion. Vossi, what's going on, mate?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, you're a bit slow there, Vossi.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't I?
Do you think you're going to win today, Vossi?
Of course. Is there any doubt?
You're a very talkative lion. OK, what about the last word on the game today?
We're going to win.
And a roar?
Roar!
No doubt about it.
Thank you, Bill. Bert Newton's with us. He's going to stay with us. But in the meantime, let's hear from the captain of the Lions, Michael Voss. And Sauce, it was you that actually caught up with Michael yesterday, so let's hear from Stephen Silvani talking to Michael Voss.
Michael, second grand final in 2 years. How are you feeling going into this grand final?
Pretty good. I mean, everyone's kept it pretty simple like we did last year, and everyone's going in with a good, confident feel, which is what you hope going into the grand final.
And yourself personally, any less nervous having experienced last year?
Perhaps probably a bit less nervous for longer in the week. I mean, that anxiety still builds up in you, and you know, you just want to get out there. You're glad all the formalities are over and that you can just get to Friday's training session and just concentrate on the game.
Yourself personally had another outstanding year. You had a few injuries towards the latter part of the year. How's your body feeling going into this game?
Really good. I guess there was argument to say that I could have perhaps kept going, but I doubt whether I would still be going at this later stage in the year, but took the option to have the operation, and it's been fantastic for me. So going into the grand final, pretty good.
Now, only the 2 changes from last year's grand final side. There must be a really good belief amongst the players.
Well, I think for that continued development, you want to ideally probably get a couple of different guys through the system, and you know, a couple of more guys get their opportunity this weekend, and you know, it just adds that little hunger factor to the side. But yeah, I mean, we've had great stability throughout the side for the last couple of years, and I think that's been one of the reasons why we've had good success.
Simon Black, a popular Brownlow medalist throughout the week. You were there when he first came to the club. What makes him such a good player?
Well, I can say that that if every young player came with the attitude to an AFL football club with the attitude this club, that bloke brought, Blackie, you know, you always knew that he was going to be a success, because he just always wanted to improve. He just had the great work ethic, and just wanted to get better all the time. So, so from that point of view, he just listened and learned, and it's by no surprise that he's gone on to be one of the elite AFL players.
Now, we're a couple of minutes into the first quarter of the game. What are the key indicators you're looking at?
We're going in harder and lower than Collingwood, I guess. We're hitting the tackles and you know, going hard at the football. I think that's what we want to be able to see in the first 15 minutes of every single game that we play. You know, it's such an important facet of the game, and you know, the first 15 minutes can really set you up for the rest of the game. So those sort of the little things that we're looking for.
Now, you are the captain of the team, but is there a player in the side that you tend to feed off that you'd like to see at the start of the game, that he's asserted his leadership and direction in your team?
Well, I think it's probably the guys who are our vice captains in the side, our core leadership group that you want to look to and have a look at. The Lepiches, Scotts, Lappins, Whites, even though he's only young Brown. But all those sort of guys certainly, you know, are really important in the makeup of this side. And, you know, you always look to them all the time to be able to assist you in any way.
Now, as a kid growing up, was your dream to play one game, 100 games, maybe the chance to play in a back-to-back premiership?
Well, I think that's always been readjusted as I've gone. As a young bloke, it was always just my first game. And then when I achieved my first game, and you sort of weigh up how you're going, then you decide on where you want to go. But the ultimate dream was always, as a kid, was to be able to stand on the podium with a premiership cup. And that is certainly the ultimate in AFL football. And hopefully I get the chance again today.
Now, should you win the grand final, would there be anything that you do differently than you did last year? The reason I ask you is that I remember the premiership lap, or the lap of honour at the end, and your boys took off on the lap and you slowed them up.
I did, because I remember a few years back when Carlton won and Justin Madden said, you know, was lagging behind, and he just wanted to soak in the atmosphere. And I guess that's what I said to the guys at the time. I said, look, you know, you're not here all the time, so take it in, you know, because it'll all be such a blur. So look at the people's faces and see how elated they are, and you know, feel a part of it, because it's you know, a truly special moment. You don't want it to go quickly.
Well, thanks, Michael. All the very best for the game.
Thanks, Sos.
Michael Voss there with Ray Martin, with Stephen Silvani. Now, Sos,
you should be careful. I'll wear that suit soon.
You did such a great job there. We're going to give you 5 minutes just to get over the excitement. We're going to make a little change in the team here. Mark Seymour's going to join us. We're going to keep he's in. Okay. You're out. All right. Okay. We'll take a quick break and come back with more as we lead up to the grand final. The weather, of course, is such a massive factor here, and you can see the conditions of the people inside the ground. We're back shortly.
This cop had given up on life until a merciless killer gave him a reason to live in the most anticipated thriller.
This crime scene was staged. There's no question the perp knows forensics.
Now he must find the clues.
Tell me what you see.
And solve the puzzle.
Hey, I got a bad feeling about this, man.
Before the next victim is chosen. Oscar winners Denzel Washington and Angelina Jolie.
Amelia?
The thrilling premiere movie, The Bone Collector, 8:30 Sunday.
In the dark of night,
we've come a long way by helping each other.
Small hours, uncertain and anxious.
We've had to, because it hasn't always been the lucky country. Sometimes things go wrong, and when they do, people need all the help they can get.
In the dark of night, those small hours.
That's why we're here, to help.
Yes, I wish you were by my side.
Check this out, 12:17. Same time, same sandwich every day.
Wow. The usual. Hey, how about changing things up today? The usual. Subway's got something special and delicious. The usual.
Try something new. Right now, Subway has a tasty new chicken sandwich. Tender roasted chicken, topped with your choice of crisp vegetables, all on fresh baked bread. So now Subway has 7 delicious sandwiches with 6 grams of fat or less.
What do you say now? I'd say I have a new usual.
Subway, eat fresh.
In the blink of an eye. Now's the time to invest with as little as $1,000. AXA, ready when you are.
Sports legends talk hair loss.
Nobody looks better bald.
Don't wait any longer.
do what I did. If you want to regrow or replace your hair, ring for your free hair check with Advanced Hair Studio. Ring now.
Available now for the very first time, the Essential Earth, Wind and Fire. 36 hits spanning their entire career. Digitally remastered on 2 CDs, as you've never heard them before. You may have other Earth, Wind and Fire CDs, but this is the Essential Earth, Wind and Fire. Have you got all the essentials?
On a tropical island, Mario is taking a well-deserved holiday. Or so he thinks. Something's amok in paradise. It's up to Mario, his water park, and you to make things less toxic and more tropic in Super Mario Sunshine. Only on Nintendo GameCube. Get into it.
Yes, all the drama and emotion from an amazing year of AFL footy, and of course it all leads up to today's big one between Collingwood and Brisbane. And we're chatting here in the lead up to the big game. We've got our esteemed footy panel here, Bert Newton, Peter Dacos, and we welcome Mark Seymour, who's going to be out there singing today the Holy Grail. Mark, how you going?
A bit nervous.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's obviously a huge day, big event, but you know, it's always extremely exciting, a great pleasure to do it.
It's great, it's a good feeling out there.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the late 70s, Paddy and I did a selection from the Bert and Paddy family album out there.
What were some of the tracks you sang?
Some of the tracks, I think actually we sang the Collingwood theme song, then we went to the Carlton theme song, went to Fitzroy. We just did a plethora of the football song, but it was really great, very, very exciting. And the way in which they greet you as you come out and
through the banner?
Oh, absolutely fantastic. I mean, you've got 100,000 people here shouting and screaming and throwing things. And I said to the Beatles, I walked out with them and it's a long way for one gag.
Don't stop now.
Well, I can't think back that long. You might be right.
You said 10 years since you've played the game before when you were having a chat to Stephen.
It has been 10 years.
Stephen's gone now?
Yeah, he's just heckling him from the side.
Well, it's a pain in the ass now.
Do you get nervous, Mark, before a big day like today? How nervous, and how do you control your nerves?
I'm nervous now. That's how nervous I get. And how long have we got?
A few hours.
I get very nervous.
just in writing that song, did you have football in mind?
No.
No?
I'm getting asked that a lot. Last couple of weeks I've been asked that a lot. Did you write that for footy? And I didn't write it for footy.
We've got a problem with one of the
you don't want to know what I wrote it about?
We've got a problem with one of the team songs, Fremantle. You couldn't help us with it, could you?
No.
Couldn't just tardy it up a little bit?
How was Monday night? Because it was a great night at the Brownlow, and you performed a couple of songs there. And here, I think, Throw Your Arms Around Me, I think, is it? Is this the one with the Brownlow? This is actually the Holy Grail,
That's
sorry.
Holy Grail.
And how did you enjoy that?
Oh, it's great. I was nervous. No, the sound was fantastic, but particularly good. It was really, really loud. I was always a bit concerned that it wouldn't be loud enough. I like volume, but it really rocked, and the crowd were into it. So How did Davies with one of his favourites, the number 14 on his guitar.
How did you enjoy the Brownlow, Bert?
Watching it at home, I thought it was terrific. I mean, I think it's fair to say that the Brownlow for the first hour and a half, it doesn't matter who's doing it, it can be just a little slow.
So you were bored?
No, I wasn't, because I thought what Ch10's did with the look of the Brownlow, especially at obviously at the venue where they did it at Colonial, I thought it looked the best it's ever looked, and I thought it was a terrific telecast. I know in previous years I've been inclined to switch around a little in the early times, but I thought it was a great effort. I've suddenly realised too, the Wizard of Oz is going to Brisbane, and I've just declared that I'm not a Brisbane supporter. I've had a meeting on the road to Damascus, and and I'm go Lions, and buy those tickets up there too.
I'll talk to you about the Wizard of Oz in a moment, but let's duck out to Brad McEwen. He's with Barry Stoneham. Brad.
Hutto, a lot of players have fond memories of Grand Final day, others not so fond. Barry Stoneham's one of them.
Yes, Brad, we played actually in 4 losing Grand Finals myself. I played in 2, and it's a great day, there's no doubt, great day for your career, but when you actually lose Grand Finals, 2 or 3 or 4 of them, very disappointing day.
Who's your tip today?
I think Brisbane, but looking at this weather at the moment, it really, I suppose, aid Collingwood, but I still think Brisbane are a pretty powerful and strong team. Should win by a much closer margin than I first thought.
All right, Barry, before we get washed away, go and enjoy the day.
Thanks very much, Brad. All the best.
And there's Brad McEwen with Barry Stoneham, been to the Grand Final a number of times, of course, with the Cats, but never able to secure a victory. But if we can sort of get a little bit serious for just a moment, the renaissance in your career, and you know, like everyone, you're hip again.
Yeah.
Not that you never were. Oh, it's fantastic.
Right. Well, I suppose something has happened over the last year or so, or 2 years, but to be honest, I mean, you've been on television long enough to realise that you don't know what's happened, because the work I'm doing now is much the same as the work I was doing 5 years ago, certainly the same jokes. But all of a sudden it seems that I'm getting to a younger crowd, which is terrific, and I think one of the reasons might be that the sort of work that I do, there are a lot of people doing it in years gone by, but most of them are now dead, and I'm sort of left alone doing the same thing. And also, of course, with those wonderful performers passing on, it makes it easier to knock off their material.
I don't know how you respond to that. I've got a theory, is that when I see guys like yourself and Ernie Sigley, and so they're genuine entertainers, and it seems that you guys grew up in an era where everything was live, and you were half actors as much as you were anything else, whereas those that come up these days, you tend to be a journalist and then become a presenter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true, because in the early days of television, most of the people came from radio and were radio entertainers. The younger people among the radio entertainers, because when it first began, it seemed that it had to be a young person's medium, because the older guys in radio were too set in their ways. And then we went through a time when the journos took over, and I mean, some journos have a sense of humour, but it's not part of the box of tricks, is it? I mean, you don't find a lot of newsreaders ending their news service with a, you know, funny thing happened to me yesterday. And then all of a sudden you either had to be a lawyer or a former priest to get a job in radio or television. Now I think the mix is nice. It's all journos tramping down lovely people like me.
Well, before we let you go, we're going to get your tip and also yours, Mark, but let's duck out again to Brad McEwen. He's got another player with him. I think it's Peter Bell. Brad.
I'm here with Fremantle captain Peter Bell. Peter, a 2-time premiership player at the Kangaroos. This day has fond memories for you.
It does, 96 and 99, and of course we lost in 1998, but the Grand Final, it's a magnificent day. If I remember rightly, that it was a nice fine day, but doesn't take anything away from the occasion. I'm looking forward to a fantastic game.
And who you think will win?
I think Brisbane will win, but before I started playing footy, I was a Collingwood supporter, so along with a lot of other people, and my brothers made the trip down here from Broome in Western Australia, so we'll go along and have a look, and should be a really good day.
Good on you, Belly. Thanks for your time.
No problems.
Thank you, Brad.
He's a heart throb around the place now, isn't he, old Brad?
Just ask him.
Yeah. Fair enough, I will. You frighten me when you say it to me like this.
Can we get rid of him, please? Now, are you going to be able to watch this afternoon or not with the Wizard of Oz?
No, I'm doing the Wizard of Oz this afternoon. So what I'm hoping to do, I'm hoping to pull an old Don Lane trick. I've got it taped, and then when I get home tonight about 8:30, I'm going to try in the ensuing hours not to find out who's won, and then try and watch it as if it's a brand new game. But
good luck.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, particularly if Collingwood happen to win, and I'm trying to drive through the city.
Just make sure you're laying low in the limo.
Yeah, the limo.
That's
right?
what you'd be travelling in.
BSA Bannerman sidecar for me. No, and just not find out the result, but it won't work. My tip is. Did you ask my tip?
No, but what's your tip?
The Lions, I think. Pretty easily, although Dakes has just been saying that. Pardon me, holding your hand there.
No, I'm used to it, so don't worry about it. It's
I can get you on
regular thing. I'm starting to enjoy it.
Yeah. So if I don't know, I think Brisbane easily, but it wouldn't surprise me if Collingwood won. Reason being, they're the other team.
And Bert will be back next year on our footy panel, so we're looking forward to that already. Mark, good luck, and your tip for the day?
I don't really have a tip, but I want it to rain solidly for the full 100 minutes. And Collingwood are losing until the last 10, and then they kick 2 goals. And the crowd go completely...
Give me that one.
Come on, what does Singer know about it?
He's a real man.
Yeah. That Wizard of Oz chat, that'll come at some other time, will it?
It will, yeah.
Okay,
yeah. I'll get back to the Wizard of Oz at some stage.
Jono knows how to give you an ass, doesn't he?
Thank you, Bert. Thank you, Mark. Dakes, we'll let you stay with us for the moment. It's all leading up to a big game later on, the grand final, of course, and coming up after we finish here, which will be soon, a big grand final preview.
The grand final fast approaches, and there's only one way to start the match fully informed, by watching Ch10's Grand Final Day preview. Stephen Quartermain will be joined by Premiership coaches Malcolm Blake and Robert Walls as we work our way through everything you need to know in preparation for the big one. It's the hardcore football fans think fest. It's the A to Z of how, who and why. It's the Grand Final preview on your Premiership network, Channel 10.
If you like fashion, you'll love Fashion in the City, October 16 to 20. A unique fashion experience in Forest Place, the city malls and the lobbies of St George's Terrace. Gear up in city style and win a new Holden Barina SRI from City Motors. An incredible balance of power and control with a 1.8 litre engine, sport suspension, cruise control and more. Complete the coupon in the Sunday Times and watch Search for a Supermodel at 8 Wednesday nights on 10.
At SGIO, we assess each home we insure individually, so you won't pay more than you should.
Fly Emirates, the award-winning airline, to over 50 international destinations.
Disney's new blockbuster Lilo and Stitch has now landed. And to celebrate, we've got the Cosmic Kahuna McDonald's Happy Meal. There's 8 fun characters over 4 weeks. The Cosmic Kahuna McDonald's Happy Meal. They're out of this world. Available now at McDonald's.
Yeah, I think you're really going to like this one. The kitchen. The living area. The Kim Novak Theatre. Mainly for action movies. And over here, we have the Cary Grant Theatre.
No, I remember that.
For dialogue stuff.
That old busted joint.
And your very own Hollywood Scoring Theatre.
We'll take it.
But it came with 3 Hollywood sound studios. And this is for action movies.
Only Sony's digital cinema sound gives you 3 Hollywood sound studios.
It's a Sony!
Fly Emirates, the award-winning airline, to over 50 international destinations.
With the power of a V6 Ford Escape, there are no boundaries.
I'd love to be picked up by the Eagles, but I've always gone for them since I was pretty young, and yeah, but just see what happens. Whatever happens, happens, I suppose.
When you're saying you came over for the '94 Grand Final, that must have been a pretty spectacular experience for you.
Yeah, it's a bit of a thrill walking into the big MCG for the first time, but yeah, hopefully play there one day. It'd be great.
Simon Black, what a journey he's had in a short space of time. Drafted, of course, not by the Eagles in the end, but by Brisbane, and our Brownlow medalist on Monday night. Welcome back, Sauce. We've kicked Bird out and we've got you back in.
We've got the real entertainers in.
Let us decide that.
So how do you think Simon Black's going to go today? I mean, Ackermanis during the week, he said that it did affect him last year, but he didn't expect it would affect Simon as much.
I don't think so, purely because I think he played the Grand Final last year. He knows the process he has to go through. Of course, he's won the Brownlow this year, but he's gone through that Grand Final week, so I reckon that'll hold him in good stead.
And he is a player that doesn't tend to take himself too seriously. I mean, Acker's a bit of a showman and he's out there and he will come up with the statements. Black tends to take a back seat to all that, and I think that's the way he basically prepares.
Well, Sauce, after your interview earlier, you might be lining up from the news shortly, but let's go to a professional. Brad McEwen is with Sandra Sully.
Hutto, forget the footballers. I'm here with the most glamorous guest today. Sandra, who's your tip?
Well, being a Brisbane girl, of course, I've got to be going for the Lions. But with this weather, this inclement weather, I think it's certainly going to give Collingwood a real, perhaps not an advantage, but certainly a better start.
Now, Sandra, like myself, you're a Carlton supporter, so we sort of can't vote for Collingwood, can we?
I know everyone is loath to, but of course I'm going for the Lions, so that gives me the perfect excuse.
Now, you were here last year. You've been to a few Grand Finals.
I have. You know, I haven't counted them up, but I'd say about a half dozen, so I feel pretty lucky in life to have made so many.
And how have you enjoyed this week? You're at the Brownlow on Monday. You're a real footy chick.
I'm a bit of a footy chick. Yeah, look, I love the footy. So many people say to me, you know, what is it about the footy? And I said, look, it's like a good book. There's an exciting chapter written every year, and it takes 6 or 8 months to read it. So I just absolutely love it. And I was pretty privileged to go on Monday night. That was sensational.
Thank you, Sandra. Hutto, I'm absolutely loving my job today.
I bet you are. Brad McEwen outside the ground with Sandra Sully. Well, boys, Michael Christian's going to have a chat in a moment with Tim Freedman from the Whitlams, who's another one of the performers today. And Chriso, he's been talking about this all week. He's been very excited about it, hasn't he?
Well, he has, and apparently he's got some hard-hitting questions, Chriso, so he has been looking forward to this interview.
Well, Tim Freedman, as I said, the lead singer of the Whitlams, a great Australian band that will be performing later on. Over to you, Michael.
Well, Tim Freedman joins me, and Tim, well, a big thrill for you to sing in front of the Grand Final crowd at the MCG.
Certainly the biggest live crowd we've played to, and I'm really looking forward to the adrenaline rush.
Now, you've had great success with the new album, Torch the Moon, #1 last month. You'll be singing a couple of songs from that album.
Yeah, so a couple of songs people might know so well, so I want them to concentrate and take them into their heart.
Well, Hutto will be disappointed. No Aphrodisiac's his favourite song. You're not singing it.
And why is that his favourite song?
I don't know. Now, the other thing, of course, Tim, you're a Sydney boy. Do you support the Swans?
Yeah, I've been to quite a few games over the last 4 years, and they'd probably be good today because they're Ducks and they're good in the wet, but we'll have to see whether Collingwood can make a tight one of it. I hope they do.
Well, what do you think? Do you think the Pies can get up over Brisbane?
I think Brisbane are going to be a little strong in the midfield, but I'm going for the underdog.
Fantastic. Well, good luck with the songs this afternoon. A big crowd. And Hutto, no Aphrodisiac, mate, but Tim will be singing a couple of songs from his new album, Torch the Moon.
That's our music expert, Michael Christian, out in the middle of the ground.
Good counter punch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. Now, Mick Malthouse, a big, massive day for him, obviously, but he's made an enormous difference, hasn't he, to Collingwood in such a short space of time?
Well, he has. He's basically built this side from scratch over 3 or 4 years, and as Christy said early on, he's not nervous about this grand final. I guess they're the underdogs. There's not a lot of expectations about Collingwood getting up, and I reckon they're in a perfect position, really, if they're going to create that upset today.
When you look back on the coaches that have won grand finals in, well, it's almost as far back as you can remember, they are almost always the experienced ones, aren't they? I mean, you look, Lee last year, Kevin Shee, Dennis Pagan, as you go back year by year, it is really the experienced coaches that win the flags.
Well, it's a mix of a lot of things that get a team to a grand final, and I suppose in the end it is about player management, getting the very best out of your players. It's one thing to have the crew or the list. It's another thing to be able to get them over the line. I suppose injuries plays a big part. But with Mick Malthouse, it's interesting. This is a nice luxury for Mick, because thinking of the 2 premierships in the past that he had been able to win, pretty intimidating coming away from Perth, home state, to play interstate and try and win a grand final.
Well, here Mick is with Robert Walls. This also recorded yesterday after the grand final parade. 2 premiership coaches together. Sit back and enjoy.
Mick, thanks for joining us. It's your 4th grand final. Does it feel any different from the 3 that you had with the West Coast Eagles?
It's a good question, Rob. I think they're all different. First one, we had a wonderful season up until the State of Origin. And then I thought the boys had played their grand final in that State of Origin match. We had 14 players playing that game. And we fell away and we dribbled into the grand final. We were really under the pump out at Waverley. The second one we started dreadfully, but there was a real strong belief. Missed what I feel today, we really missed in Perth, because the public and I suppose the expectations and the media coverage and everything else about Melbourne is so fantastic, and of course you only got that the last day when you arrived, but it was still a wonderful occasion to win a first at a football club. And the second one came along not too far away, but it's been a long haul. But I think there's certainly the build-up is all different. They're different. So I guess the game itself will be different again.
8 years since you were in a grand final as a coach. This time, huge underdogs, the Magpies. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's the bookies have certainly got us at that, and I guess the commentators and the critics will have us as that. But one of the things that I think the first thing you have to do as a football coach is convince players that they are worthy contenders. And we've been saying all year that we are good enough, and we don't have to worry about the medallions around the neck or the All-Australian things. It'd be fantastic if some of our boys got that, but at the end of the day, it changes little. The players still the same, and we have said right from the word go that we have got comfort in one another's abilities. We know we've worked hard enough. We play a particular brand of football that we think is to our liking, and out of that comes a confidence in one another. So the tag doesn't really cut in the ice with us. We go out there and we believe we're equal partners.
How do you think the game might unfold? Now, you're playing a team that's generally recognised as the best over the last 2 years. How many goals do you think might win it for you?
Well, I've thought about this. Obviously, you get a lot of detailed thought in regard to their potential and what they've kicked in the past and so forth. I think it's dangerous to get too wound up in the whole year. I think things fluctuate. Players' form drops off and comes back, or doesn't come back, and you lose some players, and some of the players jump up. The weather has a big bearing on it. Brisbane, no doubt, are a high-scoring side, or they pepper the goals. They don't necessarily score a lot of goals at times. Sometimes they score 30 times, and they score 14, 16, or 13, 17, or something like that. So it's obviously they get a lot of supply from the midfield. On the other side of the coin, I think we're about 9th or 8th in the competition as far as scores go, but our defence is held up against the better sides, and if it's wet, logic says that the scoreline should be dramatically reduced as far as the potential to have a big score. But one thing for sure, we're not going to take them on as far as the goal scoring goes, and I've always believed in defence is the best form of attack, and I know they've got a wonderful defence as well, Brisbane, but I'm not just talking backline here. We've got a mindset that is one of beat your opponent, and by doing enough of that, the scoreline, it'd be fair to say Adelaide have got a fairly potent midfield that can actually win a lot of the football and get in their forward line. They kicked 9 goals, 9 last week.
Yeah.
So we're not going to set a target for Brisbane to kick or not kick. We're going to set a target for our players to be able to do their job.
Jason Cloak won't play. He's got the 2-week suspension. He's been your #1 marking player across half-back and spoiling player. How do you replace him?
Well, it's very difficult to replace a player that's been as prominent as he has over the 23 weeks I think he's played. However, there's a valuable lesson at Collingwood, and that was when Nathan, our captain, as you're aware, fell out of the side. Everyone was doom and gloom and thought that we couldn't win games of football. And again, that's the emphasis there is on the job at hand, not who's in the side, who's out of the side. And our players have adapted that comprehensively. Anthony's led the side to, I think, 5 times and won 5 times from that. So the player we bring in, and we bring in Jared Malloy, who is no mug. He can play at either end of the ground. Will he play in bursts, Malloy, regarding that he hasn't had a lot of game time? A lot of that will depend on the opposition and the state of the game. Yeah. We understand there's no next week. We certainly won't be holding back for next week. I think it'd be fair to say that when Nathan came back last week, we had him off the ground at one stage, and we put him in a forward line and a back line on occasions just to make sure he got through the game. But with Jared, if the opportunity arises that we think we need him out there and he's capable of being out there, we'll leave him out there. If it means that if it necessitates us rotating the side, we'll rotate the side. I think it's best that you, obviously, with Brisbane, the way they can rotate players is you have players up your sleeve for run when it's needed. Just about 24 hours between now and the bounce of the ball. What's your program over the next 24 hours? Well, we'll go back and do our normal team meeting. We'll have our normal team meeting, and that really is, the players themselves have had an opportunity to know where they're playing. I like to think that some players some players like to know early in the week, and other players like to know later on in the week. Pardon me. So basically, most know who they've got and who's going to pick them up. We think who's going to pick them up. So they're prepared for that. All we go through is a few of the strategies. Again, it's not a heavy meeting at all. We don't want to have them over the top, so it'll be a meeting of just more of the strategies and the technical things that will be required on match day. From that, I'll go home and take the phone off the hook. The phone, I've got a good secretary, my wife. Right. She's answered it for the last week. I'll probably go for a walk. I clear my head by going for a walk. I don't know whether I'll take the dogs this time. They're more trouble than what they're worth. So I might just go and just clear the mind, and things come to you from time to time, and then I'll go back and revisit my notes. I like to have those. I'll spend 2 or 3 hours with those. And not much comes through them, but it might only be one extra point. Yeah. But I still like to think that when I go to bed at night, the night before a match, that everything's done. And if history repeats itself, I'll sleep well. Mick, it's been terrific talking to us, you talking to the Channel 10 crew. We wish you well. You've done a great job with Collingwood this year. Let's hope things go your way tomorrow. Thanks, Robbie. Appreciate it. Good. Pretty relaxed Mick Malthouse there yesterday, speaking with Robert Walls. I'm not sure how he'll be feeling now. We're getting closer. Dakes, so we're going to hear Brad McEwen in a moment. He's got Alan McAllister with him. What was Big L like back in 1990?
Well, I suppose he was out there and in your face, which was always good. He was a spokesperson, a big one at that for Collingwood, wasn't he? He was always blowing the trumpet, a little bit like the man at Carlton Land, John Elliott. So he was always out front, and I think he just was president with a passion. Of course, he famously said that Lee Matthews would be coach for life of Collingwood. Well, ironically, today he's coaching against the Magpies. I wonder how Big Al's feeling today. Here he is with Brad. Brad.
Hutto, this time 12 years ago, Alan McAllister's dream came true. The former Collingwood president joins me. Alan, how are the nerves?
Oh, well, I'm apprehensive, Brad, but hoping, you know, we've got a chance. Don't worry about that. And Lee Matthews would know we've got a chance as well.
Mick Malthouse has prepared this team magnificently.
Yes, he has. You couldn't have believed at the beginning of the year that we could have been here, and he has done a great job, absolutely.
Can they do it? I mean, it's raining. Is it going to suit the Pies?
Oh, well, rain. I think that Brisbane is such a highly skilled side that it's got to bring them together. And I'd much be happy. I'm happier that it's raining. Put it that way for our side.
Alan, good luck, and hope it all goes magnificently for you today.
Thank you very much, Brad.
A very restrained Al McAllister there, Dakes.
Yeah, it's interesting. How come only one team loses in the wet? I mean, everyone thinks that the Lions will come back in the wet, yet no one ever, I mean, and level the game out. I mean, does it take away...
Do you reckon better players play better in the wet?
Oh, I think the harder players play better in the wet purely because they're probably more focused on the ball and they're prepared to go for the ball. But I can tell you something, the defenders today out there will be delighted that it's raining.
And not stay on the ground, and the better players will not continually go to ground.
Well, let's get back out around the MCG, and well, Bill McDonald's got some interesting characters with him this time. Bill.
Nothing like grand final day to bring out the best in footy fans. And oh, look, have a look at this, will you? What's going on here, fellas? What's happening? Tell us about this.
Oh, mate, we've just come to support Collingwood. That was my primary goal this morning, but these blokes here have broken at least 3 or 4 of their vows, so that's become more of an issue. But
what do you reckon? You might need a bit of divine intervention to beat the Lions?
No, I don't think so. It's a certainty, absolute certainty. We've prayed for it.
We don't need any luck, do we, Don? Well, good luck. I think you might need it right throughout the day, actually.
Thank you, Bill. Well, not long to go now. One man who, of course, will be feeling pretty ordinary, I suppose, watching today will be Jason Cloke, watching his brother this morning. There he is, playing in the Eastern Ranges. We're going to have the result of the TAC Cup. An exciting finish coming up in just a moment.
Tonight, the final ever series of the X-Files. For 9 long years, the truth was out there. It's about to be revealed.
They can't try me without exposing themselves. I know what I'm doing.
They're still out there, Dana. They are unstoppable, and they are inside the FBI.
Over 10 big weeks.
The truth wants to be known.
Premiere movie-length episodes.
It's you and me. That's what I'm fighting for, Mulder. You and me.
The X-Files starts 8:30 tonight.
Strathfield Birthday Bonanza on now. The right choice for car, home, mobile. Now's the time to get into home theatre. 51cm pure flat AV stereo TV, only $388. Get pumping for your wheels. The latest in-car DVD entertainment, complete package $699. The best deals on mobiles. Nokia 8310 on the Optus 55 plan, now $0, only $55 per month. Must end tomorrow. For the biggest range, best price and right advice. Strathfield, call 1311 77.
Hey, Dougie! Hey, what's that?
This is the new Inferno bag. Keeps my pizzas hotter. Guaranteed.
Oh! Sick!
See ya.
This commercial isn't just for Aussie home loans. We've had a bigger idea, the new Aussie mortgage market. We now bring you a range of loans from the banks, other lenders and Aussie. But it still beats talking to the banks because we help you select the loan that's right for you, wherever it comes from. So call the Aussie mortgage market on 13 13 33. We've got all the right loans under one roof.
She is Angelique Kidjo.
She mixes rhythms and subjects from her native Benin with high-tech production. She brings these killer grooves into the future.
Angelique Kidjo, Black Ivory Soul at just $19.99 at JB Hi-Fi now.
Rickard Hi-Fi Corporation has done it again and smashed their Belmont warehouse prices by up to a huge 40% for a massive 2-day clearance sale with savings of up to 40% off the world's best brands. Don't wait or you'll miss out.
You won't find a better deal, I know.
At Woolworths, we've travelled Aussie-wide to bring you this week's best deals. Like pack of 9 Kleenex toilet tissue, just $4.97 each, save $1.47. 1.25 litre Coca-Cola soft drink varieties, only $1.08 each, save 58 cents. And 200 gram Arnott's Tim Tam or mint sliced chocolate biscuits, just $1.77 each, save 54 cents. So get moving, because the best deals Aussie-wide are only at Woolworths.
Dougie! Hey, what's that?
This is the new Inferno bag. Keeps my pizzas hotter. Guaranteed.
Oh! Sick!
See ya.
I'm feeling glad I got sunshine. A big day has arrived at the MCG for the Collingwood players. What a moment it will be for Josh Fraser. There's Brodie Holland, who won't be playing today, of course. It's a massive day. The rain, was it, what, 1979? Was that the last really wet day, boys?
87 was pretty wet. Melbourne, Hawthorn.
No, 87 was cold.
87 was about...
88 then.
87 was about 40 degrees, wasn't it?
30 degrees.
Yeah, it was very hot. So it's just going to be very interesting to see what impact it has on the start of the game. Do you think it'll favour one team or the other?
To be honest, I think it's going to favour Brisbane, because I reckon Brisbane have got the bodies, and you know, I tended to think probably Collingwood had a better chance if it stayed dry.
Well, of course, the under-18s, we saw Jason Cloke before the break. He obviously won't be out there this afternoon, but his brother Cameron playing for the Eastern Rangers, and Michael Christian's been keeping an eye on matters inside the arena. Michael, how did they go?
Well, fantastic effort, Anthony. They won the game by 1 point. The Quarter Cannons led by 16 points at half-time, but a great comeback in the final quarter by the Eastern Rangers. And I might say that Cameron Cloke was instrumental. He took several marks in the last 5 or 6 minutes and played extremely well. So a great win, a come-from-behind victory to the Eastern Rangers.
Just, Chriso, what's the ball bouncing like on the surface at the moment?
Dakes, it's slippery. There's just drizzle, and its conditions are extremely difficult. The ground's in great order, there's no question about that, but conditions are very slippery, so it's going to be a real test of player skills this afternoon.
Thanks, Michael. We'll get back to you shortly. The grand final sprint, of course, is coming up, the return of the sprint, and Peter Donegan's going to call it, and Michael Christian's going to look after all matters inside the ground, as we said. Well, we've heard already from Mick Malthouse. Let's hear from Lee Matthews now, again interviewed by a premiership coach, this time Malcolm Blight.
Lee, this is your 10th grand final, player and coach. It's a marvellous record. Any less nervous, more nervous now?
I'm probably less nervous than I would have been in 1971 if I could cast my mind back 30 odd years. I'm sure I was more nervous then than I am right now, like 24 hours before the game. I got a feeling 5 minutes before the game I'll be just as nervous as I was 30 years ago. I don't think your nerves ever get that much better with experience. It's more the tension of the unknown. Like, you're going into the land of the unknown. There's such big stakes on the consequences of the result. So I think that's the thing that makes us pretty tense.
Just go back to 1971 about yourself. How's the game changed? It's a long, long time. 31 years between grand final appearances. You're getting up there now.
Yeah.
Is just the game. What have you seen in the game change?
Well, the players are, I mean, every part of the game is better, I would have thought. I mean, players, I think, are fitter, stronger. I think their skills are better, their kicking skills are better. You look at the old vision of that, 2 or 3 decades ago. I guess the drop punt came in about the late 60s, early 70s. So if you go 10 years before that, I think it does really look like little kids playing it in a way. But 1971 was a brutal game. Just the attack on the body of the opposition player. Players would have been reported about every 2 minutes, I reckon, for what was normal back then.
We wouldn't see it in tomorrow's game, would we?
Well, you can't really, because you're going to lose by it. I mean, anyone who goes outside the rules of how hard you attack the ball and how hard you attack the tackle, that'll win the game. But if you go out trying to physically harm other players, the umpires don't allow you to do that now. You're just going to be penalised.
Now, I've had this debate with you some time. Your biggest thrill, is a player winning a premiership or is a coach winning a premiership?
Well, admittedly, they're more recent, but I do think it's the premierships. I think when the siren goes at the end of a grand final, if you're coaching it, the couple of times I've had that experience, it's just the most incredibly magnificent feeling. I mean, as good as a player, but as a coach, the team cause is the only thing that you've got going. Players have got their own performance and the team performance all intermeshed with each other, but the coach doesn't have that luxury. It's just purely the team wins, you feel good, the team loses, you feel bad, and there's no in between.
Look, your time at Brisbane's been magnificent. I mean, they came into the competition and struggled. I think they've been a fantastic story. There's been a lot of hard yards done, hasn't there?
Has.
And when you took them over, they were at bottom. I mean, everyone forgets that now. We see this great team. But what do you think's changed in your time that you've seen at the club?
Well, I mean, we pride ourselves on having an absolute cutting-edge preparation system. That is the conditioning of our players, the medical treatment of our players. I think we're really good in those areas. I think a lot of... We also have a team that's in an era where Michael Voss is now 27. Even 4 years ago, he's 23. So they're now in the absolute prime of their career, the Michael Vosses, the Chris Scotts, the Justin Leppiches, Nigel Lappin. So a lot of players... We've got a year where we've got some really good guys, say Jonathan Brown, a 20-year-old. Alistair Lynch is 34 and still playing well, but we've got a lot of players in that, 23 to 29 who have actually had plenty of footy behind them but are still in the prime of their physical capabilities.
But there must have been some belief from you personally to take the job on from where they were positioned at the time.
No, not really. I've got to say, I mean, let's face it, while 98 was a bit of an aberration because the side finished last. It had made the finals previous year, top 3, 96, finals 95. So, I mean, I don't think it was sort of a side that was no good. But when I took the job, it wasn't about saying this list is fantastic. It was more the opportunity of going to a new football frontier and coaching again.
Yeah.
I guess I look back on it and I feel lucky that we've had some talent to work with. But I've got to say that wasn't a primary consideration when the opportunity came up.
Just onto the grand final, did you think that Collingwood, when you looked at the mix at the end of round 22, did you think that Collingwood could be here?
Oh, well, you probably wouldn't have then, because all of a sudden it looked like Collingwood were tailing off in August, but we played them down here in round 8, and they were very good. They beat us, and they were in the middle of that patch of footy that got them up into the top echelon. I mean, at that point, I think it was Port Adelaide, Collingwood and ourselves, and we're competing for the very top of the ladder. So I think at that point of the year, Collingwood was as good as anyone. But because they had a bad August, everyone's tended to write them off.
Ironically, I actually did that game, Lee, and watched the game. And would you believe the top 2 after round 8 were Brisbane and Collingwood? Yeah. So what you're saying is pretty right, isn't it?
Well, it was. And as I say, a bad August tended to make people think they were on the slide. But they were good that night. And they were in the middle of a really good patch. I think one of the best things we've got going into this game is that game, because we saw this opposition play well enough to beat us. We saw how they played well, and therefore any temptations for our players to believe the hype, that supposedly we're just down here to go out in the field and win the game. I think you only have to look back to that game to know that that's not the case.
Lee, do you allow the word defeat to ever come in your thoughts in a week like this?
Yeah, no, I guess some of us talk about the positive winning and the fear of failure. To me, fear of failure drives you more than the other way around, and I just think that's a reality of the competition. Tomorrow we're going to win or we're going to lose. One thing's going to happen. Doing our best to get the former is what we're all about.
What's another premiership mean to you? What would it actually mean to you?
A fantastic feeling come 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And that's as simple as that. More than that.
And 3 as a coach really puts you into another echelon, of course. Look, just as we close onto this, I remember watching you after Collingwood won in 90, sitting in the dressing room in an interview after, and one of the lines that always stuck in my mind was that I thought I could coach. What made Lee Matthews think he could coach?
Well, I think you start off not knowing. I mean, you start off not having coached at all. And you hope that you can handle people, and I think one of the things that hopefully you learn over a long period of time coaching is how to handle people better. I mean, I guess you've got to direct them in the right ways of how to play the game of footy, but it's more about how do you handle people to get the best out of people. That hopefully, I think, is the thing that you learn more and more with each year that you coach. And certainly when you first started many years ago, I mean, our confidence goes up and down as it is. If your side's playing well, you think you're genius. All of a sudden the side plays badly and you start doubting yourself. I think that just goes with the territory.
Lee, you've got one word to say to the team just before they're running out in the ground. Only one word. What would that one word be to the team?
I can't think of one word, Malcolm.
That's fine. Whatever that word is, we wish you all the best tomorrow, Lee.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you.
A couple of gurus there, if ever I saw two. Malcolm Blight with Lee Matthews. Now the Collingwood players arriving, McKee, Batheris, and interestingly enough, Mark McGough also arriving. So I wonder whether he will be playing today. I guess history would say he might be the wet weather specialist, boys.
Well, all emergencies would be expected at the ground. I suppose the luxury that they do have is being able to rearrange that team just before the ball down.
Well, they do, and we see it time and time again that it does happen.
Didn't like that one, Waldo?
No, all right.
Just trying something different.
Let's go back to Bill, and once again, some interesting characters around the ground today.
Yes, we're getting closer and closer to the big game now, and Grand Final Day brings out the supporters in all shapes and sizes. Have a look at this bloke. I'm not going to look up, but is the weather any better up there than it is down here?
It's a little bit better than where you're standing, but no, it's a bit bleak. Carnival atmosphere down here. It's a great day. A great day.
Magnificent. I tell you what, he's going to have trouble getting the legs in behind those seats.
Working beautifully, Bill McDonald. We're about to go to Nick Riewoldt with Brad McEwen. Nick, what a year he's had.
Outstanding. Obviously one of the real up-and-coming superstars in our competition. Had the slow start last year because of injury, but he's going to be a superstar.
Well, here he is, Brad.
National AFL rising star Nick Riewoldt joins me. Nick, how long till the Saints will be out here on Grand Final Day, you think?
Well, hopefully not too long, Brad, but no, it's my first Grand Final, so just looking forward to getting in there and soaking up the atmosphere, and like you said, hopefully we can actually be out there playing in a few years.
It'll certainly whet your appetite to play finals and get onto a Grand Final.
No pun intended, I'm sure, with the rain pouring down here, but no, certainly I suppose that's what everyone plays the game for, and something that I'm really sort of aspiring to, like we all are down at St Kilda, and sort of, like I said, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Good on you, Nick. Well done on a great year, and good luck for next year.
Thanks a lot.
One of the great haircuts in the AFL, Nick Riewoldt. How long do you think before the Saints can make it?
Well, Kaczynski will come back and will be certainly, what, a 40-50 game player. I think Riewoldt's in the same boat. They've got certainly players that have had a good grounding over the last year or so, so give them a couple of seasons.
Who does Kaczynski play for us?
Kaczynski. Is that right, Kaczynski?
Kaczynski.
Oh, well, sorry. Bike rider Kaczynski, isn't he?
Let's get back once again to Bill McDonald.
Oh.
I think he's with some Magpie fans this time.
Don't make a mistake.
If you're going to go to the football Grand Final Day, you've got to do it in style. Here we go. Here's the rig. All the colours decked out. Obviously left us in no doubts about what they think about the Jason Cloak decision. Are we having a good day, everybody? Here we go.
Great day. Go the pies. Hot pies at the G today.
Is this your rig?
Yes, it is, mate. Yes.
Oh, you've done a good job on it.
Come up well. It's going to be a great day, a big win. We're going to win by 13 points. We are.
There you go. Confident you got to be, I guess. Grand Final Day.
Yes, mate. And go the Collingwood Club.
Thanks, Bill. There's some more Magpies. A magnificent year Paul Lacuria has had for the Pies. And I wonder how he'll go this afternoon. Will he get Jason Ackermanis, or will he be tagging another player? Maybe Simon Black. Well, let's go to the break. As we go to the break, Mick Malthouse. What a big day it's going to be for him, and indeed all the Malthouses, with our reporter Christy there as well. Back shortly.
It's the game that stops the nation, the game that sends the heart soaring. It's the one which captures our imagination like no other. The one which turns boys into men, men into heroes. All the drama, all the tension, all the unforgettable brilliance of the AFL Grand Final is coming your way on your Premiership network, Channel 10.
Sip and save on food, drinks, rides and show bags at this year's Perth Royal Show. All you need to do is snip out the discount coupons from the West Australian next Thursday and Friday, take them along to the show and save. Thanks to the West Australian and Network 10.
For your chance to win a Nintendo GameCube, the ultimate in TV gaming, call 1902 555 617 and answer the question on your screen now. Check out nintendo.com.au for more information about GameCube.
2 gin and tonics, 2 vodkas and a scotch. 2 gin and tonics, 2 vodkas and a scotch. 2 gin and tonics, 2 vodkas and a scotch.
Yes?
5 cougars, thanks.
Cougar, real smooth bourbon.
The Grand Final is here. Don't forget to pick up your AFL Record Grand Final edition, featuring a full-page poster of every player in the Grand Final, plus a complete overview of the 2002 season in this souvenir edition. On sale now at your local newsagent.
Come on. Tastes good, but...
Next, quick!
Ja. Ja, hoe lang, hè? Erisio. Hallolle. Ishando ko yai. Nema saranga ba antari. Kollo.
Everybody knows. Ever ready, the smart choice.
AFL Grand Final 2002, brought to you by its premier partner, Carlton, brewed since 1864. And our telecast sponsors, Carlton Mid-Strength, stay a little longer. SGIO Motor and Home Insurance. Bunnings Warehouse, lowest prices are just the beginning. The new Bankwest Lite MasterCard. And Ford.
Sail away with me, honey. Put my heart in your hand.
Wait, watch the fly from Mark.
Sail away with me, honey.
Deck of the leap at Mark. Chris Johnson. A Will. Oh, Will.
Sail away with me. What will be, will be. I wanna hold you now. Crazy skies are wild above me now. Winter howling at my face, and everything I held so dear disappeared without a trace. Sail away with me, honey. Put my heart in your hand. Sail away with me, honey. Now. Sail away with me. What will be, will be. I wanna hold you now. Sail away with me, honey.
Who said the high mark is dead in AFL footy? Some great grabs taken throughout the year, and time for us to judge the mark of the year. I'm not sure what the prize is. There isn't a prize, but what do you guys reckon? Sauce?
I think I went for Jonathan Brown. Purely, I reckon he went beyond the call of duty in that particular grab. So that one there.
You were screaming, weren't you? Just
I was. Because actually, just a couple of seconds before that, he actually shrugged off his opponent, who was Graham, to actually get to that contest. And he was just so committed to it. And I reckon it's one of the best acts I've seen on a footy
One
field.
of the greatest marks of all time, is it, so?
Oh, I think it's a great mark.
It was the best mark of the year, without doubt.
Well, who was second then, Dakes?
I think I didn't mind Nathan Thompson. I suppose the hard thing for Ford is always getting the timing right. He's a big guy, great agility, and able to get over, Johnny Barker and Crediuk on that occasion. So his timing spot on this occasion, and that was a terrific mark.
I went for Stephen Coops. I reckon if he was a Melbourne player, he'd get more recognition that he's high flying. You can put any number of his marks down for the year.
Now, he may become one of the all-time greats.
of Mark Davis, yeah. It's fantastic. And it is, I mean, talked about it going out of the game, but that is just one of the great features, isn't it? And for young kids coming up, throwing the ball up and trying to take the big grab.
I think we've all done it as kids, like in your bedroom, backyard, throwing the ball up, pretending you were one of your favourite players, and fortunately it continues each year.
Who are you? Who was your favourite player? Jezza. You beauty. Let's get, well, the players. We noticed the Collingwood players have arrived. Interestingly enough, the Brisbane players are still 15 minutes or so away from the ground, but the Magpies are here, and Christy's got one of them with her. I think it's Paula Curia. Christy.
How did you sleep last night, Paul?
I managed to get a couple of hours in. Yeah, there was a little bit going on in my house though last night.
Well, what was going on?
Oh, we just got a few relatives from Sydney that flew over, so they come around for a feed, so I had to get out of the house, which was good.
How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm pretty confident actually. Yeah, I'm feeling really good, so I'm just looking forward to get the game started.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Big job for Paula Curia today. Well, what about the distractions for the players? How leading, tickets and all that sort of thing, and Paula Curia touched on it there. How big a part does that play?
I reckon the ticket scenario is the biggest nightmare for a player, trying to get tickets for all your family and friends ringing up, and that's one thing I dreaded throughout the grand final week.
How would the players be feeling here? Is Nathan Buckley coming through? That's a massive day. I guess they just want to get in the rooms, don't they, and in amongst with their mates?
Well, the thing with the player, and I have been saying through the week, as a player, you're not really allowed to enjoy it. I took the grand final in after the event. I think as a player, you're still focused on the game, and I think they've shown enough in the way they have mentally prepared for games of football to suggest that their minds are on the job. And I was at a training a week ago, and look, they're a pretty mature bunch, and I think Malthouse has enough experience to be able to keep a lid on it.
Live shots from the rooms. Interesting that Darren Malloy was in his suit. Nathan Buckley in his tracksuit, but there are other players there. Heath Scotland also in his suit, so you can't read too much into that. I guess some players like to get ready early, and other